I first heard about it, it was on Jay and Silent Bob Get Old, the podcast that Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes do. And I heard him talk about it, and I was like, oh, it sounds interesting. So, and I never really caught it until I was flipping through the channels, and I saw it, so I thought I'd check it out. And I think it was the Checkmate episode. I think that was the first one I ever saw. I'm like, this is awesome! It's like Degrassi meets Evil Dead 2, which, you know, I love Evil Dead 2 in high school. So it was awesome. So I went to, I watched it on Space website because the season was over at that point. I caught it late. So I watched the rest of the episodes on Space on their website, and I just fell in love with the show.
How did I get involved in Todd and the Book of Pure Evil? Let me take it back. I have just auditioned for an acting course at my university. Didn't get in. They told me I wasn't good enough. To make matters worse, I've just had my jaw broken. Can't eat, I can't talk for 6 weeks. 6 weeks pass, and one phone call made all that bad stuff go away. Because I was going to be an extra on Todd and the Book of Pure Evil.
When I first saw the ads for Todd and the Book of Pure Evil, I remember thinking that the show looks twisted and funny. I'm going to check it out. I'm glad I did because it became my favorite show.
I was watching Inner Space and they did a little preview for the show, like behind the scenes stuff. And I was like, oh my god, this looks awesome. This looks kind of like just an awesome monster high school thing. They haven't had one of these since like Buffy, or at least not a good one. So I was super duper stoked on that. And it was just as good as I thought it would be. Maybe better. It exceeded my expectations, definitely.
How did you get into Todd, Johnny?
A favorite band of mine from Halifax called Blackmore. They said they were going to be on the show, so I was like, oh, right on, man. So then I checked out the show, and there's this big penises fighting each other with paper cutters, and I was like, oh, fuck, dude, I love this, you know, because it happens to me all the time, so I could really relate.
Sean?
I was just flicking through the channels, and I saw this crazy epic guitar battle that ended with a kid bleeding out his ass. And I immediately knew I had to tell every single person I knew about this show and try to get it a really good fan base. No one had heard about it, so.
And I started watching the show because Sean showed me.
There you go.
I can't exactly remember. I'm pretty sure, like, my boyfriend and I were flipping through the channels on the guide and we came across the title, you know, Todd and the Book of Pure Evil, and checked out the description and it looked pretty awesome, so we checked it out and we were hooked.
I saw the commercials on Space promoting the series premiere and watched the first episode. I thought it was okay, but it wasn't really until the second episode that I really got into the show and really started to get a sense of just how funny it was and how cool it was, and just loved the characters, particularly Atticus.
I actually was watching Much Music, and that's where I originally found about the series, and then I started watching it on Space, and yeah, the show was just amazing. It's perfect.
I got into Todd because I was watching a show called Sci-Fi on Sci-Fi Channel called Human Target, and there was the advert for Todd and the Book of Pure Evil, and it really got to be the fact that this bit where pregnant woman's running towards to Atticus, and Atticus punches her one. I thought that looks funny, so went and watched it, and I started watching it all the way through, and it really blew my mind.
Well, you know how women nag? That's basically how I got into it. She just was after me incessantly till I finally watched the first episode, then I fell in love.
Yeah, I was flipping through the channels one day and that episode, Rock and Roll Zombies Know Best, was on, and I loved it. It reminded me of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I was instantly addicted, so I kept bugging him to watch it because I knew he'd love it.
Well, I'm a big fan of Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes. I was listening to Smodcast, and I believe they were maybe 2 episodes deep into the first season. And from then on, I checked out the trailer, and I couldn't believe what I was watching. It was just awesome. It was just heaven for me as far as shows go. I mean, it was perfect for me. It was perfect for everybody. And I'm not so much of a metal fan. I mean, I'm a fan of all music, but I think everybody can relate to this show. Not the situations, the characters. I mean, it's just, I'm thankful for Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes and everybody that I was able to hear about this show, because if I would have missed out, I probably wouldn't have known, so I probably wouldn't have been too pissed.
Funny story. I happened to be homeless. I had a laptop in my car and had a job, but no place to live. And at nighttime, I would just search for new things to watch. Being homeless, you got nothing better to do. So I stumbled across Todd and the Book of Pure Evil. And once I found that show, that was my savior. Good laughs, good story, and I think an inspiration to us all. And for being homeless at the time, it really, I don't know, kept me alive.
I just watched Viva. It's a German television channel and they showed Todd in the Book of Pure Evil. Or as it's called in German, Todd und das Buch vom Ultrabösen. So, yeah, I became a fan and I bought the DVDs. Because the first season, the American release, because the second season, the Canadian release, and also bought this t-shirt. The shipping costs are kind of expensive from Canada to Germany, so just bought one. And I also bought some songs, or the entire soundtrack actually, to the both seasons. And I made some covers on my YouTube channel. I probably gonna make some more, so check them out.
Actually, the guy that's behind the camera right now that you can't see, Charlie, he turned me on to Todd and the Book of Pure Evil in more than one way. So yeah.
I guess I feel a little bit of guilt when it comes to the fact that I listened to Jason Mewes, Jimmy the Janitor. I listened to one of his podcasts, Jay and Silent Bob Get Old, and he mentioned it probably a year and a half ago. I think he was talking about at the time how it got renewed and it won an award. And I just simply didn't have the free time to really kind of investigate Todd and the Book of Pure Evil. I work about 50 to 60 hours a week, so my free time's super limited, and to find a Canadian show, it was almost impossible for me. But luckily, Netflix a few months ago started kind of offering Todd and the Book of Pure Evil Season 1 and Season 2. So I said, all right, let me give this a shot. And instantly, I was obsessed. I think it's safe to say that if you watch 26 episodes in a row of a television show, it's special. And it holds kind of characteristics that indelibly connect with you in some weird way. And Todd and the Book of Pure Evil instantly hooked me. I watched it on my iPad, so I was able to watch it while doing laundry, while, in my car on breaks, on my telephone, in the bathroom. I unfortunately watched more than a couple of episodes. I lived with Todd and the Book of Pure Evil for probably a week straight, watching episodes, finding my favorite episodes, rewatching them a bunch of times. It instantly became an obsession. The only time I think I've ever even been close to the same obsession level was the first time I saw Clerks, which had Jason Mewes in it too. And it's funny that he plays such a small part in kind of both in the grand scheme. But he's the Yoda of Todd and the Book of Pure Evil, and that alone is comic gold.
There was no penetration. It was consensual up to that point. But regardless, the first time I encountered Todd in the Book of Pure Evil, it was a space marathon, I believe. I was flipping channels, total happenstance, and I stopped and stayed for a good 6 hours. It even repeated after for the encore presentation. I watched it again. That's how much it resonated with me. Just full of nar-nars and killer riffs and gory deaths. It was beautiful.
Because Alex House is on it, and I was a huge fan of his ever since Dark Oracle, which is my other favorite show. But I'd watch Todd anyways because it's totally my kind of show. Like, it's perfect. It's the show I've been waiting for my whole life, and it's just a show that really speaks to my soul. And I think I should be on it, but I'm not sexy enough, so meh.
I auditioned, 4 years ago or something like that. It was a long audition process, and I remember one of my third callback or something like that was before, it was like December 10th, and then I didn't hear anything until January 15th. I want to say, but I'm not sure of the dates. And I just remember being like, oh, I totally, there's no way I got that. When I found out I got it, I was very shocked. It was very weird. It was cool though. It was a cool process. Just because when we were auditioning, they let us go in with each other. So I auditioned with Alex, and I auditioned with I think maybe one other guy for Todd. Yeah, one other guy for Todd. And I auditioned with Mel, and I auditioned with one other person for Hannah. And it was really cool. And then they actually asked us, who was your favorite Todd? And I said Alex. And who was your favorite Hannah? And I said Mel. And then they got the part. I'm sure they weren't just listening to me, but they got the part.